of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'll ask for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Is there any board member statements? Yes, sir.
Well, hello. First of all, I want to start by welcoming everybody back on a new school year. I had the opportunity to attend Meet the Teacher Night and visited several of our schools throughout the district, and I was motivated by all of our amazing staff members and students, and I'm excited to tour more campuses and see all the amazing work that our district does this year.
Thank you. All right, thank you. At this time, Dr. Freeman, we'll turn it over to you for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Buenas tardes a todos. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. As Member Cisneros said, the 23-24 school year is underway, and it's our intent to be better together. It would actually be better if we didn't have record-breaking heat, but we're paying close attention to keeping everybody safe and hydrated. Let me start out by thanking all of our families who made sure their students were enrolled, acknowledged, and verified in advance of the first day of school. We appreciate all of our families who had their children in attendance and ready to learn last Wednesday for the first day of school. Schools around the state and the nation have experienced a sharp decline in student enrollment and attendance as a consequence of the pandemic, and even though it's been over a year, we still haven't fully recovered. Most schools haven't. We just completed the process of dropping students who didn't show up in the first 10 days of school and otherwise we didn't receive records or notices from. So our enrollment today is at 5842, which is 2% below where we ended last year, but it's slightly above the enrollment on the 10th day last year, which is a good news, a good trend. Data shows that students who are absent at the beginning of the year tend to be absent more days throughout the year. It's really hard for them to make up the loss that occurs on absent days, and it creates a lot of extra work for teachers, and that means less teacher time for the rest of the class. So if our families have issues that are impeding attendance, we encourage you to reach out to your school office or the district. We may be able to help provide guidance, resources, or information or other support to get kids to school. On the other hand, we continue to encourage parents and families to keep sick students home so we can prevent the spread of communicable disease, especially airborne viruses, and continue with good hygiene practices, a lot of hand washing, covering your cough, and that kind of thing. We spend a lot of time getting ready for the new school year, and it involves more than just getting supplies and hiring employees, because we do a lot of training and development of our staff. Our annual kickoff happens the morning after Meet the Teacher Night and the day before school starts. Our board president, Ms. Reyes, asked everybody to think back to one particular teacher, made a profound impression on their lives, and related a story of her own about the impact of a teacher. And I want to thank the entire board for being present, as well as special guests in the audience at our kickoff. Alex Boyer was the keynote speaker. He energized all of us with his positive message, mixed in with some amazing musical performances. Our theme this year is Better Together, and he had a great message about supporting one another, about attitude, resilience, and being born a 10. Alex shared his interesting and actually heartbreaking story about the mark he wears on his cheek, which once indicated one's family or tribe from where his family originated. When families were separated and sold into slavery, they hoped to be able to reunite by using these identifying markings at some point in the future. Everybody was talking about being a 10 on opening day, and I'd like to thank the Cook Center for helping us bring Alex to Littleton. We started the school year with 2 different bell schedules and times, and considering that everything changed, it went pretty well. The first few days and the first couple weeks, students and their families are learning new routines, and delays in bus routes are to be expected, but we're happy we had only a few temporarily misplaced students, one who decided to go to the Boys and Girls Club, another who went home with a friend. We were able to rectify those pretty promptly by backtracking our license to learn records. Since we returned from the pandemic, we're seeing more little ones who don't know their given name, and that's the one we have in our records. So parents, please make sure that the little ones know their given name, not just their nicknames. When it comes to finding a lost student, it takes a lot longer if we're all using different names. Transportation process is smoother when we work together, and it takes some time to route transportation, and it's timely so that it's timely and efficient for our families, especially when our enrollment data is changing. We have over 1,000 new students this year already. I'd like to thank all the staff who worked through the weekend, put aside their regular responsibilities to assist with transportation the first few days of school. Our biggest challenge is the bus driver shortage. It's all across the valley. We need people to apply, so our transportation coordinator can stop driving a bus and start help coordinating. We can't promise you'll see the world, but we will promise you'll see the neighborhood, and it will be an adventure. We have 2 complementary software programs to manage our buses. One takes enrollment addresses to do routing for bus stops, and the other tracks ridership. That's your license to ride. Cross-referencing the 2 databases isn't automated, so it takes a little time to compile and analyze. For the beginning of the year, we looked at school arrival and departure times for first runs of 15 general circulation routes to see if they were on schedule. We defined that as within 8 minutes or less. And then we looked at if they were 9 to 15 minutes off schedule or greater than 15 minutes off schedule. So I'm happy to report within the first week we saw a lot of improvement. On the opening day, we had 6 runs off by more than 15 minutes. But on Friday, there were none. 9 to 15 minutes off runs dropped from 15 to 3, leaving 57 of our 60 runs with 8 minutes or less by Friday. The transportation team's analyzing second run data and looking for places they need to fine tune this week. So kudos to all of our drivers for greeting our students in the morning with smiles and affirmations and getting them safely to and from school. Attendance was amazing when we opened our campuses for Meet the Teacher Night. Excitement reverberated throughout the hallways as families visited teachers and classrooms. We're able to get hundreds of parents connected to Parent View app on their phones. We counted over 4,600 families attending. That's 150% more, or 1,500 families more than participation last year. Staff were assisting parents with a new process which will help us keep families engaged in our schools. Our sites made efforts to have information tables available for parents to join the PTA, fill out food service applications, purchase school spirits, shirts and swag, get questions answered about transportation, and in some cases, even get their girls signed up for Scouts troop. We're proud of the way the community showed up to meet the teachers, learn about expectations for the year, school routines and procedures, and how to have a successful school year in general. Both parent and student engagement are so important to the success of our students that Littleton STEM Academy and the Firebirds have already had a school-wide rollout of being epic on campus. Students traveled around campus and with their reading buddies to learn what it means to show effort, come prepared, show compassion to those around you, and they rotated through the 9 unique areas of campus where staff shared student expectations and how they're different in each area. At Quinton STEM Academy, the kindergarten parents were invited to stay for a boohoo breakfast on the first day of school. It's always nice. The administrative team made it a priority to visit middle school classrooms and discuss school-wide expectations and empowered students to get involved in new clubs, sports, and activities. 6th graders at the Littleton Online Academy worked on building their online community by creating a class book with student introductions, class-created norms. The book has many student pictures and reminds everybody to be positive with a growth mindset this year. At our newest campus, Littleton Prep, the Lions held their first Kids at Hope assembly. They welcomed their international teachers, Mr. Martinez, Ms. Salvador, and Ms. Piazza, with open arms. Expectations were reviewed, and students had fun building school spirit. They even learned a fun, interactive song in Spanish already. We want to thank everybody who's involved in opening that school, our architecture team, our construction partners, our operations team, the new site leadership team, community relations staff here and at Brookfield. Littleton Prep's IB program has been now accepted into candidacy, and their international teacher program has attracted attention of numerous news outlets for some great earned publicity for our district. Mr. Budsman, who isn't available tonight, has done a great job navigating the media. He saved a video clip from ABC 15 that I'd like to share with everybody, and the press were out again today, and they're going to probably do a follow-up next week. Let's see what Dan has for us. Challenge.
But Superintendent of the Littleton Elementary School District, Dr. Roger Freeman, tells me he's feeling more optimistic now that they've put some new protocols in place. They have open enrollment at all of their schools, so they distribute teachers based on demand. They've also now moved away from fully certified teachers and have programs allowing teachers to earn degrees and get compensated for it while in the classroom. For the very first time, they've also hired teachers from all over the world. 3 from Spain will now teach at Littleton this year.
Yeah.
All right. It was longer than that, but we don't want to keep everybody all night here. You may remember last year, due to the unexpected resignation of many of our band teachers, it was decided our band focus would be at fine arts, and we would explore other options for students in other campuses. So our curriculum instruction department has been working with HR and Sounds Academy to offer after-school band program for students who attend schools that don't have a dedicated band teacher. They're still in the planning stages, but looking forward to having Sounds as a partner that is more than willing to help us find a creative solution and provide some of that support and experience for kids. Chef Scott was awarded the SFE Chef of the Year last month, and we feel fortunate to have such a great SFE team at Littleton, so be sure to congratulate him when you see him. Even with great nutrition programs, summer feeding programs across the nation also suffered considerable decline in 2022 and 2023 compared to back in July of 2021. Nutrition and pandemic waivers, staffing challenges, supply chain disruptions all contributed to the reduction, according to a report from the Food Research and Action Center. Our district followed that trend with just 10,309 breakfasts, 11,194 lunches this past summer, which was a change of about 46% from before. Athletics, the fall season for Q1 is kicking off by offering girls basketball, co-ed flag football, and cheer. The reduced participation fees that the board approved at our last meeting are being advertised, so we hope parents will take advantage of that. Tryouts for the upcoming fall sports season begin next week, and practices will start the week of the 14th, and of course, we'll be paying attention to the temperature and weather conditions as we schedule those. In closing, I'd like to express our appreciation to Grand Canyon University, United Way, and the other Valley partners for having our students be part of the annual Back to School Drive and Stuff the Bus events. Students in need were able to receive brand new uniforms, supplies, and backpacks. And so thank you to all the support staff who chaperoned the trips. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Freeman. At this time, it looks like we're turning it over to Ms. Vandewater, who's going to do a fourth quarter showcase.
Do we have a proclamation before? Or?
Oh, did I? Sorry.
My bad, I should have. I got too excited.
Excitement is good. So at this time, we're moving on to the Attendance Awareness Proclamation and reading of Attendance Awareness Proclamation. Is there a board member that would like to read it?
I can read it.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's see. All right,
Whereas good attendance is essential to the student achievement and graduation, and we are committed to dedicating our resources and attention to reducing chronic absenteeism rates with a focus starting as early as kindergarten. Whereas improving attendance and reducing chronic absence takes commitment, collaboration, and tailored approaches to particular challenges and strengths in each community. Whereas improving attendance and reducing absences takes commitment, collaboration, and tailored approaches to particular challenges in each community. Whereas improving attendance and engagement takes schools, families, elected leaders, and other community partners working together to maintain regular and trusting communications and to identify and address barriers to being in school. Whereas we are all committed to creating a culture in which students understand the importance of showing up and engaging in school. Now, therefore, be it resolved that as the governing board of Littleton Elementary School District, I proclaim that our schools will stand with the nation in recognizing September as Attendance Awareness Month. We hereby commit to focusing on reducing chronic absenteeism to give all children an equitable opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive academically, emotionally, and socially, whether it be in person or in a distance learning setting.
All right, now you don't have to look confused because I'm looking at you, so we got this. So it's your turn to talk about the fourth quarter showcase.
Wonderful. President Reyes, members of the governing board, Dr. Freeman, and community. Tonight I will be sharing our program showcase outlining our athletic program for our fourth quarter from FY 22-23 for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students and highlighting the winning season teams as well as our 2 athletes of the season. The Littleton Elementary School District believes that athletics is an essential component of a sound educational program. Our athletic program offers unique opportunities outside of the classroom to promote self-discipline, improve self-image, and encourage a healthy sense of competition. Our program strives to embody high standards of sportsmanship while allowing our student athletes to develop leadership, cooperation, and other vital life skills in a safe, healthy, and fun environment. The Littleton Elementary School District is able to provide the following programs. We have flag football, volleyball, basketball, soccer, baseball, and softball. It is our goal to foster and encourage positive, open communication between parents, guardians, and coaches. The health and welfare of our student athletes is our highest priority. We will make every effort to ensure a healthy environment and safe training conditions for all of our athletes. Prior to participation in any aspect of our athletic program, the information is available for parents and guardians, and we explain trial procedures, eligibility requirements, participation fee, season game and practice schedule, as well as insurance requirements. And you can see each season we have 1 athletic coordinator, typically 5 site coordinators, all of our assistant principals, some of our deans support. We usually have 22 coaches, 2 per site, and 1 or 2 per sport. Tonight, we are very excited to celebrate our fourth quarter boys baseball and girls volleyball athletes, coaches, and teams. And we are proud to announce that Littleton's fourth quarter championship winner for boys baseball were the Collier Coyotes, coached by, yes, everybody cheer, coached by Jose Eurico. And if there's anybody in the audience, coaches or student athletes from Collier Coyote Boys Baseball, come on up. We're gonna give you a banner and take a photo. We're equally proud and excited to announce Littleton's fourth quarter championship winner for the girls volleyball team. They were the Estrella Vista Hawks, coached by Su Yan Kimmy. Anybody from the EV Hawks girls volleyball team, come on up.
Girls are represented. There you go, girls.
Yes.
How are you gonna do this? Here, give it to Shorty. Here, come over here. Come on in. We gotta. We're good. We're kind of, all right, we're fine. Just a little box. You can come closer, we'll wait.
And if parents want a picture with just their child in the banner, I think it's a perfect time to do it.
It's still light out, so we're.
Yeah, we're okay. Do any of you want an individual picture? You guys want any? Please, it's your child.
She can't say, she can't say no.
All right, let me get, we'll all get out and just say that's mine, or we'll be out
Yes.
of your way.
Oh, there's another mom.
Yeah, there you go, of course. I would want that. Yeah. There you go. It's awesome.
Good, everybody?
Pretty good?
Take that with you, goes in your gym.
I get to take it to school.
Stay here. Each season, our coaches also select an athlete of the season based on leadership qualities that could include encouragement, respect, motivation, initiative, dedication, response to feedback, and overall attitude. And we are so proud to recognize our fourth quarter athletes of the season. And for boys baseball, we are recognizing from Collier Business Academy, Marco Medina Chavez. And the coach says that Marco always leads by example. He shows his leadership skills through action, not only his words. He is very studious and balances his sports workload and academics very well. Well, we don't have another banner. We'll make it right. We'll make it right, but yes. We'll make it right, don't worry. Okay. No, it's the banner doesn't have volleyball, it has soccer, so we're going to fix it.
Not that we called that out right now, but yes.
You're just going to have to win that sport this season.
Volleyball didn't fit.
Yeah, we know how coveted those banners are, so
Too many letters.
we'll make it right. Don't worry. Okay. So for girls volleyball, we want to recognize the athlete of the season from Estrella Vista STEM Academy, Anna Nguyen. Anna is an exemplary athlete, student, and young person. And her coach says to know Anna is to know respect, encouragement, hustle, and passion. When met with adversity on the court, Anna stays calm and collected, and this is contagious to her teammates. She meets failure with encouragement and accomplishment with celebration. Way to go, Anna. And like Dr. Freeman said, I want to encourage everybody, our first season for this school year is underway with tryouts this week for co-ed football and girls basketball. And a few schools also have a cheer squad. So everyone is welcome to come out during these games to support our student athletes and coaches. This schedule is posted on the district website and will also be showcased throughout our social media sites to encourage everybody to come out and show their support. So thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you, and congratulations to everyone that won. Even if the banner isn't spelled correctly, we've got you in our heart, okay? Good job. So congratulations. Next, we'll have, it does appear we have one call to the public. So at this time, Braylee Brown, if you would approach the podium, please. While you're doing that, I'm going to read a quick statement. According to the Arizona Open Meeting Law, any matter brought before the board members of the audience may not be acted upon at this meeting. In order to allow time for everyone to participate, comments should be limited to 3 minutes, and we thank you. So at this time, the podium is yours.
Hello, my name is Braylee Brown, and I'm a 7th grader at Collier Business Academy. These are also students that attend Collier. We are here today to ask you to put the Gifted program back into our schools. Gifted students are not smarter, we just think differently. The Gifted class is to help us explore other types of learning that does not happen in a regular classroom. We are not there to do regular math and ELA, but we are there to think outside the box. We are challenged to think and communicate with others. The Arizona Department of Education website states, Arizona law requires that all public school districts must both identify gifted learners and provide appropriate educational programs and services for learners during the regular school day. So, just having our classroom teacher give us extra hard work is not appropriate. That is not what Gifted is, and it will not help us. Removal of the Gifted program does not align with the board goals as stated on the district board website. It says, our mission is to create high quality, comprehensive, and success-oriented learning and leading opportunities for everyone in our schools. Removal does not create high quality learning or leading opportunities for all students. It is our community that has been taken away from us without any say-so from us. We should not suffer because of the lack of resources. That is not something we should have a consequence for when we did nothing wrong. We deserve to learn. Our EP class is our safe place. We get to be nerdy, outspoken, confident, and ourselves. Our teacher, Miss Younghands, makes us excited to come to class every day. We are appreciated for every thought, feeling, question, or idea we have. These are my siblings. My brother and sister have been in EP ever since kindergarten. My youngest sister was accepted in EP last year in kindergarten. I'm sad that she will not be able to experience EP this year. My mother was also in EP in the Littleton district growing up, and it made a huge impact on her life. So she was happy that all 4 of us made it, but unfortunately we cannot continue it. I ask that you please reconsider the impact that the Gifted program has on the students and community and put it back into our schools. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. We appreciate hearing from you and your thoughts and your views, and I know it takes a lot to come up here, so thank you very much. At this point, we'll ask Dr. Freeman at the appropriate time if it's appropriate to make comments, if not, to follow up with the appropriate people to address your concerns.
Well, we didn't want to reduce the program either. I think the plan is still to deliver services, but their teacher is filling in a place where there's a shortage right now. We're hoping it's temporary, not permanent, and we're going to continue to work to get more teachers. But I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm being punished sometimes too because of the lack of resources. But we have to work with what we have to work with. And so I'm sorry it's impacting you guys like that. You did a wonderful job of speaking up for your class and for your nerdy group.
Thank you.
All right, so at this time, is there any items that the board wishes to remove from the consent agenda? If so, please let me know at this time. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm requesting to remove section D, item number 3.
D3, noted.
D3.
Okay, is there any other wishes to remove anything off the consent agenda? All right, so at this time, I'll take a motion to approve or disapprove all items with the exception of D3, which we are pulling.
Okay.
I move, sorry, I can't find my page. I move we approve the consent agenda with the item D3 pulled. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
I second.
D3 has been noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing any opposed? Hearing none, motion will pass. At this point, we will pull to D3, And if I'm not mistaken, that is employment separations, leaves, non-renewals, retirement, and/or resignation. So, Marcus, do you want to state your concerns, questions?
Yeah, so if we pull it up, there are, I don't want to list the names, but there is 5 people on our admin certified staff requests, acceptance of resignations, leave of absence. There's 5 of them not being recommended by our superintendent. So I know there was some behind the scenes explanation to the board, but I just wanted to get a more further explanation about reasoning about them not being recommended, and what schools did they work at. And then going on, there was 7 paraprofessionals that disappeared on us on July 20th, 2023, and I kind of just wanted to get an explanation as to why we were told why that was, and to what campuses did they work at, and how is that affecting our staffing situation at that campus.
So at this time, I will just ask Dr. Freeman to make sure you're following protocol, since these people, I don't know if they were notified, they would be in discussion. If they were not, we need to be very careful what we're explaining and/or identifying. So with that a disclaimer to you, I'll let you comment on what you can.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President, Member Cisneros. Of course, we remind the board every meeting the week before that if they have questions about items on consent, to let us know. And of course, this is a complete surprise to staff. All of that information's available if they want to ask, and of course, not all of it is appropriate for public comment. The recommendation to release or not to release is the same as it was last year and the year before that. And so there's 3 criteria that HR uses to decide whether the person's reason for leaving meets those criteria. We are consistent in our practice, and so that hasn't changed in the way it's applied to people who have contracts who break them. It's unprofessional, but under certain circumstances, we do release them. And so we can make that available anytime Member Cisneros wants to come by and look at what that content is in HR. But I am also not completely comfortable with the people not being in the room and being talked about. So again, I'd encourage you, if you have a question on a consent item, to let us know. We can do research and maybe even have that information for you to present in the meeting if it's appropriate.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to, I understand asking questions beforehand, but I haven't had the greatest time at that asking questions beforehand meetings. So I feel that as a personal board member, it's a better preference for me to ask it on record, that be followed up on. And so I'm more than happy to have a meeting and to go about that. Obviously, that's why I don't want to state the names. I don't want to get into anybody's personal preference. I just would like an idea about the 7 people, for example, that left, that terminated on one day. I'm assuming they were all on the same day. I mean, that's just kind of the 7 people leaving and abandoning a job on the same day is kind of unprecedented. So I just thought that there'd be a little explanation, and I'd love to get a follow-up in if we could set up a meeting. That'd be helpful.
So at that point, I hear you asking for a follow-up, which is fine. I will go ahead and make a motion to push back into D3. Every board member can vote however they seem accordingly. And with that, at that point, then I'm going to ask for a motion of D3 that was pulled, employment separation, leaves, renewals. I'll have an individual roll call. So I'll start at the end of the board.
You need a motion first?
Yes, please.
So I move that we approve D3 in the consent agenda.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, was there a second? I'm sorry.
Oh, you need a second.
I'll second.
I don't know if you moved and she seconded or she.
I thought I moved, and we'll call you second.
Okay.
For the record.
Okay.
So with that, now we'll take a individual roll call.
Approve.
Okay.
Aye.
No.
Approved. So with that, the motion will be approved for D3 moving forward. And we'll leave it up to Dr. Freeman to answer your questions as you pose them. Thank you. So with that, we are moving on to Dr. Haid talking about class size overage and the amendment. So I'll turn it over to you, please.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Tonight, the administration is asking for the board to amend the current class size overage plan to include an option for us to control class size by designating a grade or a class within a school. So this would be a collaborative process between the site administration and human resources. This predetermination would allow us to leverage teachers with greater experience to be compensated for additional students and responsibilities associated with them. This amendment would allow our teachers who have limited experience or those in our alternative pathways to stay within the district standard that is noted at the top of the plan document, K-5 to 27 students and 6-8 up to 30 students. The current class size overage trigger is dependent on class sizes that are maintained for an extended period of time. As you might notice, we do split apart K-5 and 6-8, but we look at all classes within a school that would remain at the target, for instance, K-5 at 30 students for 10 consecutive days. And then for that grade level to receive the compensation if those numbers remain for at least half of the quarter. This plan has been implemented for grade levels that have had a position that has been vacated through resignation or short-term leave of absence, and in most cases, not through a proactive process, but rather a reactive one. This amendment will give us another opportunity to collaborate with those affected using another option. Our current plan, Human Resources works with student support services, and when classes are full across the district, we do a +1 model, meaning every class has 27 students across the district, and every class gets one more student added. But that is sometimes disproportionate to the experience. So this would just, as I said, give us one more option. We would continue to have positions posted and try to fill those. And this, like all other stipends, the payments would be prorated based on the span of time that we would need to have this done. We currently do not have anyone that we would need to implement this plan for. Ms. Chizzy, sorry, that was your old name. Mrs. Garrison is working with Mrs. Musel, our Director of Human Resources, and at this time we do not have any classes that have reached that, but we do anticipate shortly that we will need to do that. Drops were completed, and we have class sizes, as Dr. Freeman noted in his superintendent's report. So with that being said, we would ask you to pass the amendment, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
So at this point, I will open it up for the board to have questions. Yes.
Is there a specific reason why we do 10 consecutive days? Because, say, for example, I'm a resource teacher and I have 28 students on a caseload, but I have it for 9 days. I barely missed that mark. Is that, I mean, I'd imagine, I wouldn't be happy personally if I was at 9 days and then I'm 1 day away. I would say, you know, rather, and then you bring me back down to 26 kids. And then
Member Sanaceros, it's not the 9 days. What happens is if they have that for a consecutive period is when we trigger a post for a teacher, and then that teacher or that grade level has a discussion about would they like to have another teacher, or would they like to take the additional students and have a paraprofessional. But there are lots of times that class sizes go up and down a student or two, particularly at the beginning of the year or at the break or different things like that. And so that allows us to not put something in place that's temporary. So if I had a teacher waiting in the wings and I was able to onboard them and bring them on, and there was the other teachers had 10 days of additional students, that wouldn't be half the quarter. So the 10 days on the original plan is just simply the mechanism we use for posting. When we had a lot of teachers, it worked quite well. Now we can't find teachers, so typically those 10 days, we know ahead of time that they're going to be getting class size overage money.
okay.
Does that help?
And then what has been the impact, like the input and from staff have they thought about the 10 consecutive days?
Member Senaceros, this has not been an issue. They were actually, the feedback that we've gotten from the LEAP committee and other students or other teachers when they're paid out for the additional students, they're happy to be compensated for that because there is additional work past the normal class size. But 1 or 2 students here or there, that's a general expectation, I guess you would say, as a teacher. It's the large classes that really have an impact on the planning for teachers. And so when we have put these things into place to compensate teachers, they've been very receptive, particularly our resource teachers that take on additional caseloads.
Jim, would you open up the chart again? Because I think there's, it may not be clear what we're asking the board to discuss. So on this chart, you'll see there's 2 K-5 rows. Everybody sees that. The first row with the 29 students and the 10 days Member Cisneros is discussing is the plan currently in place, and I think for the 3rd year.
Yes.
So it's been reviewed numerous times through LEAP. The new part is the second row. The second row is where we designate a large class size with the idea that instead of taking 9 kids and putting 3 in each room, we recognize that 1 or 2 of those rooms might be a teacher who doesn't have a bachelor's degree, who's in our Build Your Own program, who we don't want to add additional additional students to. And so by working with the senior teacher, the admin, and HR, designate in advance somebody to take what would have been the +1 rooms and the additional compensation. So the second row of K-5 and the second row of 6-8 are the part that's new, with the idea, I think to your point, is to get money to them sooner for taking extra kids, but not doing, the +1 is equitable. It spreads the additional students equally across all teachers, but what we're saying now is all teachers aren't equal anymore. Some of them have experience and some of them are learning their craft. And we want the board's permission to have the discretion to pick extra kids with experienced teachers and give the less experienced ones fewer kids while they're learning. Otherwise, we're back to the first. Right now, the plan is the first row. It treats all teachers equally regardless of their experience. The designated one allows us to do a little bit of modeling based on what the teachers have shown they know and can do.
No, oh, sorry, Rachel, you can go. I'll go.
So just to clarify what you're stating is that instead of it just being there equally distributed, what would happen in essence is the new teachers, the teachers who are less seasoned, would be able to maintain that smaller caseload, but the teachers who are more seasoned, who have more experience, they would just get that larger amount of students. So for example, there might be a class with 28 students and there might be a class with 35 students, but that teacher with 35 students who is has more level of expertise, in addition to having those students, they would then get that additional amount of money as well to compensate them for that difference in numbers.
Yes, Member Barnett, you exactly right. This is why we tried to hire you as a teacher, but we appreciate you as a board member.
Oh yeah, and I get it. I 100% agree with everything Rachel said. I think just the one thing that I try to understand is that if they're for getting the extra money, that where did we come up with the number of 10? Because I know, like, if I have extra students on a certain caseload, or if in my classroom for a certain amount of days, but I almost missed the mark. Is there, like, can we half compensate them for the amount?
So Member Senaceros, that number comes from, typically we have 4 teachers in a grade level. So if each, and 27 is our target. So if each +1, we're at 29, 29, 29, 29, that's 8. Once we go over and there are teachers getting 3 additional ones, then we know this is not just an influx for short term. We've got to do something about that. But there could, at any given time, like on the first day of school, I could have 30 students on my caseload and only 24 show up. So there has to be some time for us to track, is that student really gone? There's some paperwork on the back end, because it's just as detrimental to trigger something and then have to take it away.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. I was just curious. Thank you.
So my only comment is I do like paying the seasoned teachers a stipend to be able, it not only helps the teachers, it helps the students. If you have a child in school and you talk to them, they quickly know an experienced teacher versus perhaps someone that's learning, and that's through no fault of anyone, it's just the dynamics of the classroom, right? As far as 10, if you did that at 8, someone would say, well, I'm at 7, right? So I don't think a number, and if you did it at half and you did it at 5, I'm like, well, I'm at 4. So I understand you have to draw a number. If 10 is what your experience shows, I get that. So that was merely feedback, and I definitely am all for having a seasoned teacher with a larger, they know how to manage it. They understand that the teaching concept, and that's a lot of the battle when you're new, is just getting classroom management down. So I'm glad to see that. So with that then, I will need a motion and a second for item 10.
I move the governing board approve the class size overage plan as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion will pass. Thank you. And at this time, this is an action item. Moving to number 11, we're going to discuss and consider approval of the Arizona School Boards Association political agenda and appointment of its representation to the ASBA annual meetings. With that, we were given a packet. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to review it and if there's questions regarding it. I'm sorry? This is it? Is this the only copy?
They have a digital one.
Okay.
I just thought it might be easier for
From-
you to hold it.
Yeah, for me, it's easier because I love paper. All right, so are you bringing it up?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, gotcha.
You want to scroll down one page, Jim, to the edits?
To the red,
There.
there we go, thank you. So is the thought, we're reading these, I don't need to read them aloud, I would assume, and just people are going through the cross-outs and new language, is that the concept here?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sorry, Madam President, members of the board. So, School Boards Association has asked whether we want to adopt these as a district unit. I don't know what your action would be if you didn't adopt them. They've gone through the process of input. So I guess if you didn't want to adopt them as proposed, you would revise them and adopt them as revised, might be your option.
yeah, that's what confused me, because I was like, okay, well, they look like they've been, you know,
Yeah,
gone
I mean,
through.
there's a committee of people from representative districts who work on this and put it together.
Right.
I would imagine that it's not, for the most part, going to be inconsistent with the discussion the board had, but there may be boards who look through there and find something objectionable, you know, and want to call it out or delete it. So I would say we would recommend approving it unless you find something in the content you object to.
Yeah, I agree, because
Okay.
I think everyone may have looked through it, and it is, while the words may be different or the sentences are turned, it is the concept that we've talked about for many of these items.
We have consistent problems with resources and support,
Right.
and it's,
Commonality in all
Yeah.
schools.
yeah.
All right, so with that, if there's no objections and no questions, I will move the governing board approve the Arizona School Boards Association's draft 2024 political agenda. And I would need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion will pass. Thank you. And with that, it looks like we are calling for adjournment.
No, you need a delegate, and Amy's not here.
Yeah, I know, I was going to skip that. All right, so at this point, I thought this was kind of discussed, forgive me if I forgot, but did we make a discussion or have a conversation as who was going to be our delegate?
We do it
Or am I
twice-
just
I think we
imagining
do it
that?
twice a year.
There was a discussion though, right? And why we may not have voted on it, there was a discussion.
Did she say she would do it?
That's what I recall.
Sounds familiar.
Okay, so there was no one that said, step forward and said, I can do this? Okay, so if we don't have it in the minutes, we're going to assume it didn't happen?
Correct.
All right, good.
And just by looking at the dates, the delegate assembly on September 9th, I'm available that day and I don't mind attending.
Well, good,
I thought
okay.
it was, I figured, you know, I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was a great experience. I got to interact with other board members.
And it is interesting, the dynamics
It's
of
a
it,
very
right?
interesting experience, so
Yes.
I don't mind. I don't have anything on my calendar that day.
Well, thank you. Is there any opposition to Sarah being the delegate?
I'm not in town, so I can't go.
Yeah,
No,
I
no
have a
objection.
commitment, so unfortunately, I can't go. So at that point, it does sound like that the board is going to take an action item and nominating and thanking Ms. Contreras for volunteering, we appreciate it, to be the delegate to serve for the Littleton Elementary School District.
I'll second.
Second?
So we have a first and second. Any disagreements? Hearing none, that passes. Thank you.
We have two more.
There's
We have
another
to
one
pick
on here for
The county and the annual meeting.
Okay,
It's
so,
all 3 meetings.
yeah, that's my understanding.
Oh, that's not,
No,
No,
I
'cause-
didn't do all 3 last time because,
We normally just do,
it was just the one, and I think Amy did the other
that's why I'm
2.
so confused myself.
so I,
Do an alternate then?
I think
So-
that's what we
Split
did
the
last
3
time.
meetings up?
Yeah,
I think that's what we did. Amy was our alternate.
all right, so the county, what date is that?
so I can go to the county.
Okay,
I can
that's,
go to the county.
if you've never been to a delegate assembly, it is interesting.
Mhm.
And I think it's,
County is a little more informational.
It
and
is.
It's here in town usually. and-
yeah, so,
Yeah, it's at Tempe High
with
School
that,
District.
So since
is-
we're picking 3 things. So we're picking one for the delegate, a person from us for the delegate assembly, then a person from us for the county, for the board elections for the county, and then the third one for the annual meeting this December.
if that's what we're doing, that
What's on-
is,
That's what I'm. Yeah, that works. I can do the last 2.
okay, so if I understand correctly, the motion is that Sarah Contreras will be the delegate, Marcos will be the county and the annual, is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
All right.
He's the alternate.
He is
So
the alternate.
The idea is that each of those only one vote from the school district.
Understand.
Yep.
All right, so we have that motion, is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion will pass as stated, and that is Sarah as delegate, alternate is Marcus for county and annual. All right, am I done? Because this was very confusing.
Need a motion to adjourn.
That I understand, thank you, and I will ask for a motion to adjourn at 6:52.
I move that we adjourn at 6:52.
Thank you,
I
Deborah.
second.
Thank you. Any opposed to that? Hearing none, we are now dismissed at 6:53. Thank you.